It is a brisk 18 degrees outside, and boys, I have a story to tell you to start this video, okay? So, imagine, right, in a hypothetical world that you and your future wife are going out on a date night, right? You want to go to BJ's Brew House, you need a babysitter for this, so, you're on the hunt, right? You're like, okay, we need to find a babysitter. Who are we going to get? We've got a big, fancy date night at BJ's Brew House. You're hoping for a different type of BJ's Brew House afterwards, and you need someone to look after your children, during that time, hopefully to kind of seal the deal. And with that being said, you're looking all over the place. You're like, okay, listen, we live in Las Vegas, we live near the UFC. Would it make sense to ask Dana White for a fighter to babysit for us? Now, when you ask Dana White, he looks at you, right, with the big hands, with a mean stare. He calls you a kid a couple times, even though you're a very young 35. And he says the best he can do is Chris Moutinho. Now, you obviously go tell him to fuck himself, and that you want a UFC fighter from the upcoming Paramount card, UFC 324. And therefore, that is where the Money Manziel MMA channel comes in. This was not a story. This was me setting up the tier list that is coming at you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Money Manziel MMA channel. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday. I've lost track of days a little bit. We are at almost UFC 324 fight day, and we're getting close to weigh-ins. My predictions do come out Thursday, so be ready for those. In the meantime, enjoy the tier list, and let's make a little jump cut over there.
We're soldiers. Soldiers don't go to hell.
I'm going to hope and pray that I did something cool, for the little intermission there. But regardless, we have arrived at the UFC 324 fighters, ranking how good they would be as babysitters for this hypothetical night out. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go up the card up until the main event. And based off of just whatever my opinion is of that fighter, we're going to rank how they would be as a babysitter. Really high quality A+ content over here on the channel, keeping it new, if you will. I don't think anyone's used this idea yet. Leave it to bedtime to fucking do this the same day I do it. Regardless, we do have to get one guy out of the way. I made a promise in my comment section. We need to automatically, I know he's not on the card, I don't really care. We've got the Zahabi tier. Ayman Zahabi will not be babysitting my children anytime soon. I will not be babysitting Ayman's either. Can't trust me. We might be showing them highlights of more exciting bantamweight fighters like a Sean O'Malley, like a Cody No Love Garbrandt, and they will permanently what's the name for the where you leave your family, emancipate themselves from Ayman Zahabi, and they will be Cody Garbrandt's children because he's a real fighter, unlike their father.
I just said all that for no reason, bro.
Regardless, let's get on to the actual list. We're going to try and get through this pretty quickly. I feel like my tier lists are too long sometimes. So, first guy, he is on the early prelims, the very first guy, Ty Miller. Now, I don't know anything about this guy. I did watch him fight on the Contender Series. Purely off of looks, I'm going to go with a B tier here, and I'm going to tell you why. If I don't know about you for any controversy, for any fucked up fights, for, being a fucking, a bad guy or anything, then I'm happy to put you right smack in the middle in the B tier. I'm happy with it. No more analysis needed. He looks like a stand-up guy.
What do you mean by that?
And I would trust him with my children, I hope. Let's hope that I can trust all these guys with my children. There might be a couple on this list that we may need to pass on. So, speaking of guys that I'm not completely sure I would trust with my children, let's move on to his opponent. I'm going to put Adam Fugit in the C tier. Now, again, I do not know any of these guys personally up until kind of the main card and, some guys before, but I don't know anything about Adam Fugit. He could save children from fires.
He might be the nicest guy in the world. He might fucking, on weekends, might save small orphans from fucking disasters, for all I
know. He could be helping homeless children on the street at night. I don't know what he's up to. He could be Batman, but Adam Fugit's got the look of a guy that I feel like he'd try and teach your children how to shoot like rifles and BB guns, and I don't know, man. I'd like to be doing my own education on that. So Adam Fugit, 37 years old, trying to be a UFC prospect. That is not going to happen, and we will not accept that or condone it on the Money Manziel MMA channel. Welcome to the C tier, brother. Moving on, because we got to keep moving. I mean, this is automatically, I'm willing to put this dude in the Zahabi tier, but we'll put him in the D tier. I'm going to put Ricky Turcios in the D tier. Now, I need to explain myself. Ricky Turcios has a famous clip that is very motivational, right? very inspirational. You can go and look it up. It's too long to put on my video, but whenever you have a chance. When it comes to Ricky Tercios, solely going off of look and not thinking about anything personally, Ricky Tercios is a terrifying looking human being. If this guy went up to your children, he was trying to fucking tickle them or play hide and seek with them, if you were hiding in a closet from Ricky Tercios and he opens the door and you see his face, you would scream until you had no voice left. Ricky Tercios is a scary looking guy, praying for any children that have been babysat by him. Prayers up. He will not be babysitting my children anytime soon. So, Ricky Tercios, respect to you, man. But I'm sure you're a good guy. You're not going anywhere within 1,000 fucking miles of my children. So, we're going to keep it pushing here. We're going to go with a guy who I think is in the B tier. Cameron Smotherman. Now, Cameron Smotherman to me, he's got that baby face, right? He kind of looks like fucking, I don't know, he looks like one of those Nickelodeon kids that, kind of survived all of the bad stuff, and he still looks super young. But you're kind of like, okay, did you get trapped in time? Did, fucking one of the episodes of, SpongeBob, suck you in, and then you came back out and you're still the same age? He's got that baby face to him. Now, he seems like a good dude. I don't know anything about him, but, hopefully he can also put on some real footage of a real champion like Cody No Love Garbrandt and show them a winning fighter and how it can be done in the UFC, because Cameron Smotherman ain't done it yet. So we'll put him in the B tier right along with Ty Miller. Very unassuming. We do not discriminate around here. So Cameron Smotherman, welcome to the B tier. We have another D tier addition on the list. Again, very close to the Zahabi tier. Josh Hokett. If you know anything about Josh Hokett, you should know this is a free D tier.
What do you think the best fast food joke is?
Just an interesting human being. He's trying to be Colby, he's trying to be Chael Sonnen, except they've already done the gimmick. It's kind of over with Colby anyways. No one gives a fuck about him anymore. Josh Hokett's still trying to make it happen. He's not very funny, even, to be honest with you. He's talented, so I guess it would be cool to have a guy that could protect my kids around, but I feel like Josh Hokett would show them fucking Agartha and looks maxing edits on TikTok, and he would try and radicalize my children, and we've got no need for that in the Big 26. So Josh Hokett, brother, do not knock on my door, because you will not get an answer. I gotta tell you the truth. So let's keep it moving to his opponent. I'm gonna put this guy in the S tier. I'm gonna tell you right now, and listen, I'm gonna tell you why. Denzel Freeman, S tier automatically. Let me explain why. Denzel Freeman has the look, and I'll put a picture of him on screen at some point probably. Denzel Freeman has the look of an 1860s barber. Now, admittedly, in the 1860s, it might have been tough for Denzel Freeman to get a barber. So he may have been a barber in the North. And if he was a Northern barber, Denzel Freeman would have been the best barber around. He's got kind of a weird greaser-style mustache. He's not got a lot of hair on his head, but all power to him. He just kind of looks like, I don't know, he looks like he really would have enjoyed the jazz era, the blues era. That's not the 1860s, but you get what I mean, right? He's an old soul looking kind of guy. So Denzel Freeman belongs in the S tier. I feel like he would definitely protect your kids from an intruder. I feel like he'd put on some good music, he'd put them to bed, put on a nice little show, a nice little movie, probably black and white, seems like a Denzel Freeman type of thing. Just seems like an overall good dude based on appearance alone, which is kind of what we're going off of for these first few. So Denzel Freeman, welcome to the S tier, brother. Why am I making this video? This is such a random video. You can tell we're running out of ideas, man. We need the UFC back in a bad way. Regardless, we've got a guy in the A tier. Michael Johnson. Listen, I am a big, massive, huge, enormous Michael Johnson fan. That was a lot of fucking, and a lot of synonyms there. You should pay respects in the comments.
Nigga wanna see me fall.
Regardless, Michael Johnson would be S tier. The only issue is I'm not necessarily sure I can trust him if an intruder comes in. And let me tell you why. Michael Johnson would be putting a stiff jab on him, right? They come in, they're like, hey, we're going to fucking kidnap your children. You're a little terrified, but you've got a UFC fighter, Michael Johnson, out the door. At first, the robber would be concerned to be like, okay, this guy's a UFC fighter. Do I want to go this route? Then he'd be like, oh, wait, it's Michael Johnson. Let me just land one right hand on him. And then Michael Johnson would be out straight up snoring on the fucking canvas. Or not on the canvas, but on the couch. And then all of a sudden your children are gone, and, it's a tough night for everybody involved. So you're not getting that BJ's Brewhouse special after all. Regardless, Michael Johnson is A tier because I like him, so fucking deal with it. Let's move on to his opponent, Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez. I think that's still his nickname. He might have changed it. I am going to put Alexander Hernandez in the B tier for a simple reason. Alexander Hernandez is incredibly inconsistent. Now, I know he has like 4 wins in a row now. The issue is that Alexander Hernandez gasses in basically every single fight he's ever been in. Now, let's say that a runner, he's really on a different type of runner's high, and he runs up to your house, he's like, hey, can I take a piss in your bathroom? Alexander Hernandez is like, no, like, I've got little children here, you gotta go knock on a different door. If that runner tries to fight him, if he can survive 5 minutes with Alexander Hernandez, push him back, make him circle around the kitchen, then I think that this runner, the sprinter or long distance guy, will be able to beat Alexander Hernandez in a fight. I also think that he would try and give your kids HGH because holy shit, that dude's gut is crazy. I don't know how it's possible to have the physique that Alexander Hernandez does, but all power to him. We all look like that. We on the Money Manziel MMA channel, best physique on YouTube by far. All of my viewers have the best physique out of any community in the MMA space. So just kidding. I know there are at least 4 of you with an MMA Joey build. So, that's unlucky. Regardless, we got to keep moving. Alex Perez. Now, where is Alex Perez? And I am realizing right now that I've forgotten Charles Johnson. So we're gonna skip past Charles Johnson when that time comes. I don't know a whole lot about Alex Perez. I'm just gonna put him in the C tier. Seems like a dude that gets injured a lot. I feel like if your kids were like trying to fucking wrestle him, they're just roughhousing. I feel like he would tear his ACL trying to like pull them off of each other, and that can't happen because these are little children. They're not going to be able to call 911 on their own to free will. But Alex Perez seems like a guy that is one bad step away from a torn Achilles, so we can't be risking that in the Money Manziel household. So we got to put you in the C tier for now, brother. Prayers up if that happens. And Charles Johnson would have been in like the A tier. Seems like a good dude. You know what I mean? We'll imagine that Charles Johnson is in the A tier for now. Let's move on to another guy that I'm going to put in the C tier. Actually, I'm going to put him in the D tier. I feel like Nikita Krylov is a tough guy. He disappeared for 2 years off the face of the earth after UFC 286 and then randomly came back to get slimed out by Reyes and Guskov. And that is exactly where my issue lies. Now, I feel like what would happen is Nikita Krylov would say that he'd arrive at your house at 6 p.m. sharp, let you and the wife go out on a nice date. And I feel like he'd show up at like 10 p.m. Your children are like fucking eating each other, trying to like survive in the house because they don't know how to make their own food.
Oh, you nasty ass bastard!
And then Krylov shows up, and one of the children like kicks him in the leg, and Krylov goes stiff, unconscious. Nikita Krylov is about one leg kick away from just horrible things happening to him. I feel like at this point, like the dog could probably KO him. The cat might be able to KO him. Nikita Krylov would get KO'd by a cat if he opened the door. So this could be a babysitting issue, and it's something that we may have to grapple with, if you will, in a short amount of time. So let's keep it moving to his opponent, Modestas Bukauskas. Damn, we're moving up this card. Modestas Bukauskas, we're going to put him in the B tier. I have no opinions on Modestas Bukauskas. He's got to be the most relevant fighter of all time. Just a guy that exists, kind of to win 1 or 2 and then lose 1 or 2. No clue if he beats Nikita Krylov. He probably slimes him out, to be honest with you, but I have no formed opinion on Modestas Bukauskas, so you're going in the B tier. I do think there would be a bit of a language barrier, which could keep him from the A or the S tier. So, Modestas, welcome to the B tier, brother. It's a pleasure. Another guy we have in the S tier, and I promise I'm not trying to prove that I'm not racist, we have Atiba Gauthier in the S tier. Now, if you know anything about the channel, we are big Atiba Gauthier supporters around here, and this is a guy that, he's training all day. He seems like a sweet dude, visits back home often. He was in that cat cafe during Embedded. Not shocked if he's in another one for this Embedded. Just seems like a great, wholesome anime watching guy. The only issue could be that he tries to put your kids on the fucking like manga or something. You're like, dude, let's not put our kids on the fucking hentai or manga. Let's let them enjoy real American fucking television in the meantime. So, Atiba Gauthier, I'm happy to put you in the S tier, brother. Salute to you. Now, our next guy is his opponent, Andrei Pulyaev. Now, I'm going to put him in the D tier, and I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to Andrei Pulyaev, I feel like he's kind of an intimidating looking guy. I think he falls into the Ricky Tercios level where if he opens the door, like you're playing hide and seek, you're playing tag. If Andre Pulyev is chasing you around, you genuinely be terrified. He is a fascinating looking human being, kind of creative. It's like someone was making a GTA character and just picked a bunch of random shit. Andre Pulyev, brother, you will not be babysitting my children anytime soon. Macy Barber, our wife, will be beating the hell out of this dude, probably KOing him if he tries to come anywhere near our house. So, respects. Final fight on the prelim before we get to these main card guys to round out this tier list today. Umar Nurmagomedov is going to be in the A tier, and I will tell you why. He seems like the most down-to-earth guy out of the entire Khabib crew. Islam's kind of autistic, so he seems down to earth. Khabib is kind of his own thing. Tagir is kind of frightening to look at, if you ask me. Umar Nurmagomedov just seems like a good dude. He did like the jacuzzi a little too much. I don't know how to feel about that at times, but, you know, I feel like he's a nice guy. He would probably also gas out if he was play wrestling with your children, so, again, that could be an issue, but that's a bridge you got to cross once you get there. So, Umar, welcome to the A tier, brother. No shame in having you there. His opponent, however, we will also be putting in the, no. We're going to put him in the B tier. And I'm going to tell you why. I would put Davidson Figueiredo in the A tier, and this is how you can tell that I literally have no clue what I'm going to say before I say it. But I've just realized that I feel like if you have small children that are crying all the time, cue the clip of Davidson Figueiredo calling Brandon Moreno a crybaby.
Brandon Moreno, crybaby. It's crybaby, motherfucker.
I feel like Davison Figueiredo with your children would be like, your children is crybaby, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, he'll speak some broken English and fucking call your children crybabies, and then you'd refuse to pay him for saying that, right? That's disrespectful to say to someone's children and to their parents. So Davison's going in the B tier. He does seem like a good dude, a pretty funny dude. I think the language barrier would be an issue, but hey, man, what can you do? Google Translate exists in the Big 26, so, good rhyming to end off that one. Let's move on to autistic patient number 1 and autistic patient number 2. I'm going to put Arnold Allen in the S tier. Arnold Allen seems like a great dude. Just a guy who power lifts in his free time. Yeah, all right. Yep. Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to go out and spa? Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, we can spa. He just seems like a good guy that he's got a little bit of that autism where he can't really be in big crowds or else he has to have headphones on. We know that all of us have the same thing. So Arnold Allen, I think, would be a good guy. Would he get a little overstimulated in moments and maybe have to leave the room? Yes, but I'm sure your children can deal with that. A guy that we are going to put in the B tier, additionally, with all the rest of these guys, is Gene Silva. Now, Gene the Lord Silva is a very, very good fighter. Seems like a generally good dude. However, the issue with Gene Silva, and I'm not going to explicitly state it, but Gene Silva may try and propagandize your children, which could lead to issues down the road in 25 years when they start asking you about like the USS Liberty and all that kind of stuff. So, Gene Silva, in the meantime, please do not propagandize my children. Let me fucking do the talking instead. Gene Silva, welcome to the B tier. We got to keep it moving. Natalia Silva, I'm going to put in the A tier. Seems like a friendly enough person. And honestly, on top of that, I'm going to put Rose right there with her. I feel like both of these girls deserve to be in the A tier. Natalia Silva seems like a good, normal person. No real formed opinions on her. And as I'm talking, I'm going to move Rose Namajunas. I've just realized, right? Rose Namajunas will try and tell your children that it is okay to get married at 15. She's going to tell them that they, right now at the ages of 5 and 7, should meet a 30-year-old man. She's telling them from life experience that it's a great move, that it's not creepy at all, that no one frowns upon it in the MMA community. And I don't need my children hearing that. So we are going to move Rose into the C tier. I feel like that's probably where she belongs. Next up, we've only got 6 guys left to talk about. God damn, this video is going to get long, huh? Waldo Cortez Acosta, I'm going to tell you right now, he's in the S tier. This guy already has like 9 or 10 children. And if that's the case, he would be very good at taking care of kids. I feel like he would teach them some dance moves. He'd probably shit on Tom Aspinall for a little bit. I feel like Waldo Cortez Acosta is a safe bet as a babysitter. The only issue is he would probably take it short notice instead of with actual preparation. Like, you'd text him with like an hour to go and be like, hey, can you come over? He'd say yes. So, Waldo, we need you ahead of time, not in short notice. But regardless, we'll have him there. I'm gonna put Derek Lewis probably at like the C tier. Derek Lewis is a funny dude. I just feel like Derek Lewis is the type of guy to not pay attention to your kids. Like he probably takes them to a fucking, I don't know, like a bouncy, what are the fucking like trampoline parks or something like late at night, and he just does not watch them. They're genuinely getting pelted with dodgeballs every couple of minutes, and Derek Lewis is trying to like talk to the fucking cashier or some shit. I just feel like Derek Lewis would not pay attention to your kids. Plus, there's always a risk of an accidental mooning around Derek, so we got to steer clear of that. Protect the children. Next up, fucking Sugar Sean O'Malley. Where are we gonna have Sugar Sean O'Malley? If this was 2 or 3 years ago, I would have him in like the C tier. We're gonna put Sean in the B tier with the rest of these guys. Seems like a pretty down to earth dude. I do think he'd offer them a joint. Like I think he'd roll up and ask if they wanted to get in on the fucking blunt rotation, and I would say that my children should probably hard pass that at the ages of 5 and 7 in this hypothetical scenario. So we're going to say that Sean O'Malley's in the B tier solely for that reason. Can't start him young like that. At least wait another 2 years. 7 and 9, then we can have a conversation. But either way, we're going to have Sean O'Malley at B. I am going to put Sonya down in the C tier. Again, I feel like the language barrier is going to be a big issue here. This guy barely speaks English. And I feel like my children would be confused. They probably make some racist jokes, which we can't have, in the Money Manziel household, which is our last name. We can't be making Family Guy level Asian jokes at Sonya Don. So respectfully, we got to put you in the C tier, brother. I'm sorry, but I have to do it. Now, we have the final two guys involved in the main event of the evening in Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. Where are we going to have them today? I am going to put Justin Gaethje in the A tier. I think that Justin Gaethje would be pretty good with kids. The one thing will be, I hope he doesn't like carry them on his shoulders, because he seems like a guy that would try and do like a backflip or something with them on him. So maybe don't do that. But I just think Justin Gaethje's a good dude. So, he'll probably get fucking fluked by one of my children with like an overhand right at some point. But other than that, Justin Gaethje in the A tier makes a lot of sense to me. Very down to earth dude. I've been yapping, but fucking we have made it to 20 minutes on this part of the tier list. So if you're still watching at this point, before we get to Paddy Pimblett, if you're still watching, like, comment, and subscribe, man. It's fucking crazy that, we're still doing this 20 minutes in. So the final guy on our list, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, I'm going to put him in the C tier. Paddy Pimblett would be a funny guy to have around your kids. The issue is he would feed them straight fucking McDonald's for 4 hours straight. You come home and there's genuinely 20 Big Macs, fucking 8 large fries, a bunch of McFlurries. Your children are sitting there genuinely dying from fucking heart failure and diabetes, and that would be a tough pill to swallow. And we just can't have that. So Paddy Pimblett's got to be in the C tier. I also think the accent would be tough. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will round out the tier list. Let's make one final jump back to our outro slide, and let's get the fuck out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, you have made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. It was a fun one today. I hope you all enjoyed it like I did. Just kind of getting silly before we get the very serious breakdowns tomorrow on the Money Manziel MMA channel with my full card predictions for UFC 324. I've been in the lab. I've been ignoring all of my fucking lectures so I can lock in for this card. So it is going to be a beautiful time on the channel. I appreciate all the support. We are at damn near 1,500 subscribers, which is fucking crazy considering where we were just about a month or two ago. So I appreciate all the love and support. Like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you're new, if you're old, hit the subscribe button, man. It's easy. It takes 2 seconds. Like the video. Leave a comment. In the meantime, my TikTok is at Money Manziel MMA. I have the YouTube Shorts that I post every single day. So, rhyming to end the video. God bless. See you at the top. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace out, boys.